Okay, well, it's my great pleasure to welcome everybody to our actually first ever FBC summit. We did have a small local summit of the blockchain club here last year, but this year is really the first national FIFTech and blockchain summit in Santa Barbara, and it's a joint event by the undergrad blockchain club, Blockchain X UC Santa Barbara, and the FIFTech club, which we have at the computer science department. So this event would not be possible, and a million thanks to our sponsors. First and foremost, the Uniswap Foundation. Give them a big round of applause. So we have two of the members here. I didn't list all the names, so apologies, but two of the names who have also been extremely active in organizing this event, Vita B and Kite. And they all have to have nicknames, for some reason. Really, the Uniswap has been a partner here at UCSB for more than just this event. They have sponsored the blockchain foundations course that we have here. They have sponsored a DeFi virtual seminar for all of last year. They've been sponsoring some of our research, and they've been a great partner all along. And we hope, and now I'm on a kind of mission holding my tin cup, we hope that they will continue being a great sponsor. Thanks again. And we also have Malkhi Labs sponsoring us, and we have a few of the members here, Nadine, Lijan, Denise, I don't know if they are in the audience, but Ted definitely, oh.
They are outside grabbing food.
Also, Dahlia. They're all here. Maybe you want to stand up so everybody knows you. They literally just, I hope I can say this, literally barely just finished their seed round and already are sponsoring our events and our research. So thank you so much. Okay, more thanks. This would not be possible without our amazing organizing team, who has worked very hard to invite speakers, organize the schedule, food, venue, the reception last night, so many things. It's unbelievable how much work is put into organizing such a seminar day. And I want to particularly call out a few names, but again, if I left out anybody, please don't be insulted. But Ruslan, Isabel, Saloni, and Diana from the Blockchain Club have led and are hosting this event all along, and some of the students of the FIFTech Lab who have also been extremely active at organizing this event, Nir and Swati. So thank you all. And all the names that I forgot to mention, apologies. And last but not least, we do not take it for granted that you guys, speakers and poster presenters and attendants who came from all over the country, and some of you flew in here, some of you drove, some of you from out of campus, and of course a large attendees from our own student population. We do not take it for granted that you're attending here. You came to this remote campus to be part of this event. Thank you so much for taking part in this. And I guess the immediate question one asks is, why this event? Why Santa Barbara? Why UCSB? What's special about this? So obviously there's this reason. This is one.
Wow. Nice.
You obviously came for this, I'm sure. And, okay, how do I go to the next slide, please? Stop. Next slide, thank you. There's also this reason, different time of day, different angle, no question, you came for this. And this is the right reason. This is a beautiful campus. There are also some more serious reasons that I want to talk about for just a few minutes. Okay. So there are also more serious reasons, and in order to get into them, I want to take this opportunity and introduce myself to the undergrad population here, to some of our visitors, and introduce the fifth tech lab that we just recently started. So I'll take a few minutes to do this and to tell you about my journey, and that will bring to why we're having this event here. So my journey as a computer scientist starts as an academician. I was a professor at the university from 2000 to 2007. And back then already, my areas are distributed system and security. And one of the things, for example, we worked on at that time with my students and collaborators was a system that implemented for the first time ever what we call secure multi-party computation. So this is a primitive and a method where two millionaires who have some money in the bank can compare which one of them is richer without either one of them learning any bit of information about how much money the other one has, except of course the result, which one is bigger than the other. Mm-hmm. So we built this first system ever in around 2002, which ran for the first time across the Atlantic and computed, 1 bit of result, who has a higher value. It took roughly 4 seconds back then for this first ever system to compile. Obviously the technology has advanced tremendously since then. But one of the takeaways is that I had right there from that time is that cryptography, modern cryptography, is doing magical things that defy logic, defy intuition. Mm. And the second thing is that a lot of this theory has reached the point where it can actually be deployed, and then we optimize, we improve it, and can really build systems out of it. So for the next, So for the next almost 2 decades, I spent my career in tech, in industrial research positions, continuing to build various distributed systems and security products. I won't get into too much of them. Some of them were deployed, some of them were remained only foundationals. One of the many things that we worked on was more recently a method called hot stuff, and we have this little cartoon called hot stuff, the friend of the little devil. And that was a method that allows you to scale the core engine that drives blockchain technology. This was right around the time when Bitcoin was starting to get a lot of attention, but people were looking for what today we call proof of stake systems. And hot stuff was the first bridge between academic methods, foundations, and presented a way to scale these proof of stake systems. This got the attention of a project that was cooking up at Meta, back then Facebook. And so for the next few years, I joined the Libra, later rebranded Diem project, with the mission of creating a platform for moving money more cheaply, more efficiently, faster, and in a way that is inclusive and allows everybody to access it globally, worldwide. This was the Diem project. This was our mission. And just spend a sentence reminding what we were trying to achieve there. We will actually have quite a few talks by much greater experts than me in this domain. And I'm actually starting to get nervous even to move to the next slide, but I will do it anyway. So what did we try to do in Diem? So if you think about our digital money system today, the one that you all have in your pockets or your browsers, money is digital, but how does that work? Well, the bank takes your deposits, records it digitally, and forms some kind of a contract, an IOU, with you as a client. But what happens when I send $1 as a bank client to somebody else? How does the IOU for that dollar for me turns into an IOU for somebody else? Well, the answer is that there's a very significant infrastructure and system and regulation around central banks that facilitates it and makes my dollar and somebody else's dollar fungible and allows these transfers. So the system of central banks here in the US, this is the Federal Reserve Bank system, is the one that makes all of these deposits interchangeable and fungible and exchangeable. But it is a very serious and somewhat arcane infrastructure. It is costly, it is slow, and it really doesn't give us what we expect from modern systems. And we do have apps like Venmo or I don't know, PayPal, or dozens of these apps that give much, much better user experience to clients, but they don't have access to that foundation. They have to go through the all the layers of the banking system. So very briefly, this is what we were trying to do. We were trying to create an infrastructure for all of these entities at all levels to manage the reserve that they keep in the banks in a way that they can interchange and have all these deposits fungible. This is what we were trying to build. And we did it in a regulatory friendly, we were told multiple times that we had all the compliance, all the security, all the design that would meet regulators' demands. However, we were not allowed to launch in the end, and we closed down the project in 2022. We handed some of the assets to the Federal Reserve Bank and announced the closing of the project. My very, very personal takeaways from that project, and this, I'm not representing the project or anybody, and we do have people from the project here with us today who will talk about how they continue that journey. My personal takeaway and lessons and experience from the project were this disruption that brings us all here today is bringing together technology into the finance and regulated world. This is not just a technical disruption, this is not just a technology, and this is not a new financial whatever instrument or some rule. It's really happening together. But especially when you go back to the DM time, 2019, but even to this day to some extent, the two sides really can use more bridging, more dialogue, and more understanding. So economists, regulators, legal scholars, on the one hand, and technologies should really, could really benefit from a much, much deeper dialogue. My experience, my personal experience, again dating back a little bit to 2019 when we started, is that regulators had no idea what we were talking about. When we started, we got questions like, okay, so how is this different from Bitcoin? Mm-hmm. When we ended the project in 2022, we were already getting questions like, okay, why 2/3 plus 1 in your quorum system and not just a supermajority of 2/3? Why do you need the plus 1? We would get really, really technical questions. So I think, if nothing else, we brought the dialogue to a much, much higher level through this project, and I think it needs to continue. But at the same time, you have technologies who are completely ignoring regulation. Regulation is here to protect us, the consumers, protect against bad activity, against illicit actions, and protect our economy and the stability. What would be challenging and what would be fascinating for us as a technologist is to see where technical tools could actually do this by themselves and where the regulators have to come in. So this was my takeaway, and this photo is the photo of street markets in Hanoi. Everybody knows that the best products, the best food in Vietnam, you get on the street, not in regulated, licensed places. But this is illegal. And every once in a while, law enforcers will catch one of these, vendors. And when they do, they can be pretty brutal. They'll smash their vegetables. They'll sometimes break their wagons where they bring, their produce from their fields and send them away. And the next week, they will find another corner and will set up their merchandise there and come back. And it's a cat and mouse game, but the mouse also always wins. And the market always wins. So this is the other takeaway. You cannot ignore this disruption happening. You might as well, really help it be efficient and effective. So what do we do after the DM project closed down? Well, obviously I came here. And this kind of brings to what the pillars of the FIFTech, Foundations of Financial Technology Lab that I'm heading is about, and what this is about. So I really believe that work on the one hand on systems, just better systems, more efficient systems, faster systems, needs to continue enhancing this technology, side by side with looking at the financial aspect of it. So decentralized finance is just as big a focus and important focus for us as technology is. And to do this, we also need to make sure that academicians and industry are talking to each other. So this is our schedule for the rest of the day at a glance. One thing I want you to notice is that the speakers we have come partly from academia, partly from the industry, but actually more than half of the names here have dual affiliations. I didn't put all of them. So we really wanted to create this summit as a place where it's an intimate event. It's not one of those big events. You can really have a dialogue. You can really meet people in the field. It brings together people from computer science, the financial world, academic world, industrial world, together to a deep dialogue. And with this, I don't want to waste any more of the time because I want to hand it over immediately to our first speaker, Christian Catalini, who happens to be one of the co-inventors of the DM project, the Libra project. He was the chief economist, and now he is the chief strategy officer and co-founder of another company that continues, in some sense, that vision, Lightspark. And without further ado, I hand it over to Christian.